Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. So Cheavon Clarke outpoints Vasil Ducar of the Czech Republic. Clarke moves to 7 wins with 5 KOs, no draws, no defeats. A good win over a very tough guy who's been in Britain before. You all know Ducar, who's like I said, he's from the Czech Republic. Tall guy, 6'3", 33 years old, compared to Clarke, who is, I think, 32. Clarke's a bit shorter. He's about 5'11", 6 foot. But Ducar, you will know because he's been in Britain before, most notably when he actually lost to Jordan Thompson over 10, but had Thompson down very late in the 10th and final round and almost stopped him. And of course, this was on the undercard of Thompson versus J.R. Pataya, so, you know, it all crosses over. He's also been the distance with Chris Billam-Smith. That was over 10 rounds. He was down a couple of times but got up. This is Ducar I'm talking about. His only stoppage defeat was against Mike Perez. That was in 2022, early on, possibly February, March, I think. He was actually pulled out by his corner after 10 rounds. That was a 12-rounder for a WBA Intercontinental thing. And the fight with Cheavon Clarke was for the IBF International Cruiser title, which gets you a ranking. Now, look, Clarke he's only had 7 pro fights. He was a former Olympian, and obviously at 32 he's got to be fast-tracked. But he does seem to me to be someone who stayed in the amateurs too long. And I know his attitude is, well, I think he said something along the lines of, anyone can turn pro, but I wanted to go to the Olympics. That's fair enough. That's absolutely fair enough, you know. If that's your dream, you do it. But fast-tracking him in the cruiserweight division, even domestically, we got some good cruisers domestically. It's a calculated gamble. He's got that tough. He's from Jamaica originally. He's got that tough sort of, very sort of. He looks the part. He looks, buffed and like a bit of a tank. Muscular. A lot of attitude. This was actually his second, even though he's only had 7 pro fights. This was his second 10-rounder. He went the distance with Israel Dufus, and that was earlier this year in February, and since then he had a 10-round KO over David Jameson. So he is being fast-tracked, and Ducar was a guy who, even though this was for one of the IBF trinkets, Ducar was a guy who was going to ask questions of him. You thought this was more of a learning fight for Clarke. Now, look, Ducar has got some ability, and he's got some pop in his punches, but the thing is, you got 10 rounds. Now, I understand that Ducar was probably thinking, okay, Clarke is inexperienced. I've got, 23 fights to my record, or whatever it was, 23 fights to my record. I've been the distance of 10 rounds, a couple of 12-rounders. I'm the one with the experience. But you've got to put it on someone. You can't just let the opponent fight at his own pace, inflict damage on you, and then hope that he runs out of gas. He won't run out of gas if you let him fight at his own pace. And this was a mistake I think Ducar made, because to get him to throw punches, you had to throw your own punches. You'd have to hit the guy to get him to throw a punch. This is the problem with Ducar. So after 5 rounds, it was complete whitewash. And in the 6th round, Ducar suddenly decided, okay, I'm going to go for it here. And he did land a good punch which shook Clarke. Not badly, but it got his attention, definitely. And for the first minute and a half, he was doing okay in that 6th round. And then Clarke, both orthodox fighters, by the way, Clarke suddenly started to, he sort of replied in kind, if you like, and he actually shook Ducar at the end of the 6th. Now, that shouldn't surprise anyone, because Clarke was just having a stroll in the park for the first half of the fight. Mike Costello, who was commentating, said it's almost like Ducar don't get paid for the first half of a fight because he doesn't do anything. And of course, Ducar, having soaked up a bit of punishment early on, was the one really who'd had his sting drawn, if you like, rather than the other way round. So the inexperienced Clarke, who hadn't done that many rounds, was suddenly able to navigate his way through the 10 rounds pretty easily. And he was landing punches, fighting in bursts. He's got this horrible habit of going, ugh, and grunting when he throws a punch. I hate that. I think apart from the fact it's a giveaway, it also takes some some energy to do that. But he's landing, he was landing bursts. He likes to lead with the right hand. Clarke does disguise it quite well. But again, Ducar was only firing punches once he was hit. And he was, do you want to win the fight or do you want to go the distance? That's the impression I got. And it seemed, even though towards the end Ducar was firing bursts, the moment Clarke put it on him, he would sort of go back into his shell, wait for Clarke to throw more punches, and then he might fire the odd 2s or 3s back. But I was disappointed with Ducar. I thought he would recognise that Clarke is the type of guy who, because of his experience and his age and the fact he may have been in the amateurs too long, he would really test him, and he didn't really. And he has that sort of gatekeeper role now, Ducar, which is, all right, he's 33, so he's not getting any younger, none of us are, but you would think, this was for an IBF Inter-Continental belt. He's been to Britain before. He's been the distance 10, 12 rounds before. You'd think he'd let it all hang out, and he didn't until maybe the last round. In fairness to Clarke, he did contain Ducar with the bursts of energy. He was leading with the right hand. His jabs can be a bit sloppy, I think. Ducar wasn't really jabbing at all. To be honest with you, I see Clarke at the moment as domestic level. I think he'd be a good matchup for some of our other cruisers. Even though they're trying to fast track him, throwing him into world level, I don't fancy his chances, to be honest. Maybe the EBU is a title he could go for. It means more than all these sort of IBF, WBA, WBC trinkets, this alphabet soup stuff that goes on. I'd rather see the EBU title gone after. But I don't see Clarke at the moment as having enough tools, enough skill, enough refinement, or enough power to make it to world level. But I could be wrong. And he will have learnt something from Ducar. He was at least doing the 10 rounds. He would have, it's under the lights, it's on a big card, under the chief support on a big card. Yeah, okay. But putting him in with some of the top 5 of the world, no, I don't see it happening. I would rather he went for the British title, maybe like I say, maybe the EBU title, but world class, to be honest, I don't really see it, to be honest. But I could be wrong. Some people do mature late, you never know. But I do get the impression he stayed too long in the amateurs to have a lengthy, productive pro career, one that sort of capitalises on his potential, if you like, the potential that was there. But he boxes quite smartly. He does have that Dennis Andrews physique, that sort of, that sort of strong man. I'm almost tempted to call him a strong man, but that's not to say he doesn't have skills. He does have skills. But we'll see how far he can go. What did you think of the fight? Did you see it? It was okay. Wasn't a barn burner, but was okay. Let me know what you think. What do you think of Cheavon Clarke? How far do you think he can go? Maybe you thought he did very well against Ducar, and Ducar didn't do much because he wasn't allowed to. That's a feasible argument. But let me know what you think. Comments below. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the like button as well, and we will speak again soon. More videos to come from this card and others. We've got some great boxing this weekend, and I'm going to do some more videos, so look out for them. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.